Hey, want a cookie? Oh, I know you just ate, so you're craving something a little sweet. Besides, one cookie isn't gonna kill you. How about half? Just a bite? Bite it. Bite it. Bite it.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. Your affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on a path to successful weight loss by quieting food noise.
Bite it.
Shh. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about. Like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
Voices for Justice is a podcast that uses adult language and discusses sensitive and potentially triggering topics, including violence, abuse, and murder. This podcast may not be appropriate for younger audiences. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Some names have been changed or omitted per their request or for safety purposes. Listener discretion is advised.
My name is Sarah Turney, and this is Voices for Justice. Today, I'm discussing the case of Jennifer Harris. When 28-year-old Jennifer Harris went missing on Mother's Day in 2002, rumors swirled in the small town of Bonham, Texas. And all eyes were on two men. One was her ex-boyfriend and business partner, and the other was her ex-husband, who she'd recently started seeing again. But nearly 23 years later, between odd witness statements, missing evidence, and a pretty strong conflict of interest, residents of Bonham and Jennifer's family are left baffled and frustrated by her case. This is the case of Jennifer Harris. On Mother's Day in 2002, Jennifer Harris was visiting her friend, Christy Farr, when, at about 8 p.m., she abruptly left. She basically just said that she had to go, without providing an explanation, and didn't tell Christy where she was going or who she was meeting. The next day, on May 13th, Jennifer's 2000 green Jeep Wrangler was found abandoned on Country Road 2610 near Lake Bonham. It's definitely a more rural area, but also down the road from a local music spot called Lake Bonham Hoedown. So it's rural, but Bonham is also just a really small town with about 10,000 residents. So it's not like it's in the middle of nowhere. Obviously, her Jeep was found pretty quickly. And when deputies from the Fannin County Sheriff's Office get to the Jeep, nothing really appears to be wrong. There's no evidence of a crime or a struggle, the vehicle just appears to be abandoned. So the scene is not secured. Deputies get in her Jeep, look around, and call for it to be towed. This is really how her family discovers that Jennifer appears to be missing. Again, it's a small town and word travels fast. So Jennifer's younger sister Alyssa decides to take a look around Jennifer's place. Well, their grandmother's place. See, Jennifer and her ex-boyfriend/ex-business partner, James Hamilton, broke up about 2 months prior. They were living together in the Dallas area, but Jennifer moved back to her hometown of Bonham about 6 weeks prior for a fresh start. Or so it seemed. When Alyssa peeks around Jennifer's room, she sees Jennifer's wedding album open like she'd been going through it, and she finds a video of her sister's wedding in the DVD player. Alyssa didn't know it yet, but Jennifer had been seeing her ex-husband, Rob Holman. And as Alyssa continues to look around, she finds something even more shocking. A pregnancy test kit with one test removed and a bottle of prenatal vitamins. Jennifer was pregnant. Now, to make sense of this, we need to go way back to how Jennifer got to this point in her life. Jennifer was raised in Bonham, Texas, as was Rob Holman. He was about a year younger than Jennifer. Some sources say that they began dating as early as 4th and 5th grade, but Alyssa says it was closer to 7th and 8th. Jennifer and Rob continued dating all throughout high school. But Rob didn't distract Jennifer from her educational aspirations. After high school, she moved about 3 hours away to attend Stephen F. Austin University, where she obtained her bachelor's degree in biology and her master's degree in kinesiology, wellness, and nutrition. Jennifer was incredibly intelligent and ambitious. About 3 years into Jennifer collecting her degrees, Rob decided to follow her and move to the same area. They continued dating, and in 1986 they had their dream wedding. Alyssa says it was meticulously planned. Jennifer had the huge wedding dress and said her vows at a beautiful mansion out in the country. It was perfect. About a year later, unfortunately, Jennifer and Alyssa lost their mother to cancer. It's something Alyssa says Jennifer never fully got over or processed. In 1999, Rob and Jennifer bought their own home together in the suburbs of Dallas. But unlike their perfect wedding, this was not the perfect life that they dreamed of when they exchanged their vows. Rob worked in landscaping and really wanted to move back to Bonham, while Jennifer was embracing a new lifestyle in the city. She became extremely interested in holistic healing and enrolled in massage therapy school. Her dream was to start her own clinic someday. And at that school, she met a man who shared the same dream, James Hamilton. At this time, James was living with the mother of his first child with a second on the way. It seems that it's around this time when Jennifer and Rob's relationship really began to crumble. Jennifer's father, Jerry Harris, says that when he went to visit Jennifer and Rob, he became extremely concerned when he found what appeared to be 5 holes punched into their living room wall by Rob. And Jennifer's sister Alyssa shared another concerning story in her interview with 48 Hours. She says that one night Jennifer called her and her voice was shaking. She said Rob came home drunk and forced himself on her. In October 2000, Jennifer and Rob got divorced. Rob moved back to Bonham and James moved in with Jennifer. From here, they created their dream business together, Stoneleigh Massage in Dallas. But things didn't go as planned. James wanted to marry Jennifer, but she refused. It was a really rocky relationship, and ultimately the business failed, forcing Jennifer to file for bankruptcy since all the loans were in her name. Basically, it was the worst-case scenario. In about 2 years, her business and new relationship both failed. And it's around this time that Jennifer tells her cousin Susan that she's been seeing her ex-husband Rob, who at this point was dating someone else. Susan is not happy about this. And when Jennifer tells her that she's planning to move back to Bonham, she immediately suspects it's so that she can be closer to Rob. Now, Jennifer's sister Alyssa doesn't seem to know all the details that Susan does. Jennifer knew that Alyssa didn't approve of Rob for obvious reasons. So Alyssa sees Jennifer's plans to move as a fresh start. She says Jennifer began applying to new jobs and was looking at possibly moving out of state to somewhere like Colorado so she could spend more time outdoors. But then Jennifer found out she was pregnant. Alyssa doesn't find out until after Jennifer goes missing. But we know this not only because of what Alyssa later finds in her room, but also because Jennifer told a friend, Jill Wagner. Jill would later tell investigators that Jennifer confided in her about the pregnancy and told her who the father was. It was Jennifer's ex-husband, Rob Holman. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Chewy. If you have pets, you probably know about Chewy, and you also know that when they say that they have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, they're not messing around. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands my pets love at prices I love. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. I've been shopping with them for a very long time. And in addition to the auto-ship feature that gets the dog's food to them every single month, I also love to experiment with different treats. But I'm a bit picky. For me, it has to be high quality with simple ingredients. I recently picked up treats from Shepherd Boy Farms that are 100% just chicken breast. Popcorn and Heber are already obsessed. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
When 28-year-old Jennifer Harris went missing on Mother's Day in 2002, there were many searches for her near where her Jeep was found and in the surrounding areas. Her father, Jerry, spent day and night searching for her as well. He says that around that time, he got about 3 to 4 hours of sleep at best, and spent the rest of his time driving around anywhere he could, specifically keeping an eye out for buzzards in the area. And within about 48 hours of Jennifer going missing, what appears to be crucial evidence is found. Fannin County resident Jack Atkinson finds a set of keys. Now, I can't stress enough that this is a small town, and things work a little bit differently than we've seen in other cases. Jack doesn't call the sheriff's office to pick up the keys. Instead, he tells 2 deputies having lunch at a cafe south of the Red River Bridge that the keys would be hanging on his porch for them to take as evidence. It seems like he found the keys, hung them up, and when he saw these officers, he brings it to their attention as maybe a clue in Jennifer's case. And when he gets home, the keys are gone. He assumes all is well. Now, Jennifer's dad, Jerry, catches wind of this discovery. And from the description, he believes the keys are a match to Jennifer's. So he goes out to the area to look for himself. And here he finds a shirt, jeans, and a bra that he also believes are Jennifer's. These items are taken by the Fannin County Sheriff's Office and sent off for testing. What doesn't get tested are the keys. According to the Fannin County Sheriff's Office, they never got them from Jack's property, and they were never admitted into evidence. Where they went is still a mystery to this day. Of course, while they are physically searching for Jennifer, the Fannin County Sheriff's Office wants to speak with her ex-boyfriend and her ex-husband. They conduct these interviews about 72 hours after Jennifer went missing. When they speak to her ex-boyfriend, James Hamilton, he denies seeing Jennifer on Mother's Day. He said he was over an hour away and can prove that he visited a McDonald's near the time that she left her friend's house. 2 witnesses also confirm James's story, and he passes a polygraph. Rob Holman's interview goes very differently. He admits that he was seeing Jennifer, and said that they had sex about 4 to 5 times since Christmas, the last time being in February. But this doesn't seem to be the last time he saw Jennifer. He also mentions meeting up with her near a local drive-in about a month earlier. He says this is when Jennifer told him that she was pregnant with his child. He tells investigators that he offered to pay for an abortion should Jennifer want one. And as far as the day Jennifer went missing, well, he says that Jennifer did call him to meet up. It was Mother's Day, she was pregnant with his child, and she wanted to see him. But Rob says that he refused. He had plans with his current girlfriend, so he says that he never met up with Jennifer. It's unclear who this girlfriend was, or if Rob and her really did have plans to see each other. She's mostly been kept out of the public eye. But Rob does say that he has an alibi for when Jennifer went missing that night, so again, around 8 p.m. He says he bought some beer and drove around on country roads for 5.5 hours. He also expresses concern to the investigators that he doesn't have anyone that can confirm his whereabouts. He says he bought the beer with the intention of drinking with his friends, but when he drove to their house, they weren't home. So he decided to just drive around and drink instead. Again, no idea where this girlfriend is. But outside of not having anyone to vouch for his alibi, there was another issue. Investigators confirm with Rob that he didn't leave the county or the state. He just drove around the same area. And that's pretty crucial because Fannin County is a dry county, meaning on a Sunday when Rob says he bought the beer, it would have been illegal for anyone to sell it to him. Now, of course, it is possible that someone sold it to him under the table or that he bought it in some other roundabout way. But it's a red flag. And the rest of Rob's interrogation was as equally confusing. At first, Rob says that he did see a Jeep driving around, but wasn't sure whose it was. But one investigator pushes a little more and asks, "Where'd you see her Jeep?" Rob explains that he and Jennifer were at the same intersection, and it was clear that she'd been coming from town. But he says that Jennifer turned one way and he turned in the opposite direction to avoid any drama. So Rob knows that Jennifer is pregnant. She wanted to see him on the day that she went missing, and he does see her, but he does not engage. He apparently just keeps on drinking and driving until he eventually goes home. Now, like James, Rob also agrees to take a polygraph test, but it's never administered. According to the sheriff at the time, after obtaining a lawyer, Rob rescinds his offer. And I also think it's extremely worth mentioning that one of the investigators who spoke with Rob during this interview was married to his aunt. So we have conflicting statements, a conflict of interest, and not a soul to confirm Rob's alibi. But it's not enough to make an arrest, so he's let go. Then, just a few days later, on May 18th, Jennifer's body was found. Fishermen on the Red River found Jennifer. She was face down and completely nude. Unfortunately, her body was very badly decomposed, so they weren't able to conclude much, not even a manner of death. But her cause of death was determined to be homicidal violence. Her right eye was swollen and bruised, and her uterus was missing. The small town of Bonham, Texas buzzed with gossip. Of course, all eyes were on Rob Holman, her ex-husband. Rumors that he and his girlfriend killed Jennifer and her unborn baby spread throughout town. But pretty quickly, this sensational story was put to rest when experts concluded that Jennifer's uterus wasn't cut out of her body by her killer, but instead was likely eaten by turtles in the river along with other parts of her body. It's unclear how long she'd been in the river, but it was long enough for decomposition to set in pretty heavily and for creatures to get her. Whether or not testing was done for the pregnancy hormone HCG is unknown, but in the end, they weren't able to find any forensic proof that Jennifer was pregnant. Jennifer Harris was laid to rest on May 24, 2002 in her family plot. And really, not much happens to move the case forward. All eyes were still on James Hamilton and Rob Holman, especially after they both did some odd things and made some strange statements in the next few months or so. On June 20th, James Hamilton called Jennifer's father to ask about a $2 million life insurance policy he thought Jennifer had. The beneficiaries were supposed to be James and their shared business. But the policy doesn't appear to have existed or had since been terminated with the bankruptcy of the business. So James never gets any type of payout. He just essentially creates a potential motive for murder. But this also doesn't really go anywhere. As far as these initial investigators are concerned, James Hamilton is in the clear. His alibi checked out. Now let's talk about Rob. After Jennifer's remains were found, Rob asked Jennifer's family for her Jeep and her laptop. He offered to take over the payments on the Jeep, saying that he just really liked it. But they refused. He said something similar about the laptop, that he just really liked it and wanted to buy it. But that had been taken into evidence by the sheriff's office. So more red flags from Rob Holman, but again, nothing happens. There's no arrest and nothing progresses in her case. In 2003, another rumor is swirling around Bonham, Texas. People around town are saying that they know who killed Jennifer, and it wasn't her ex-husband or her ex-boyfriend. They say it was the local district attorney, Miles Porter, who killed Jennifer, and that he was covering it up because her case was under his jurisdiction. Typically, I don't like to bring up random rumors in the cases I cover, especially when I know that they don't go anywhere. Investigators say that Miles Porter didn't kill Jennifer Harris, and Porter says that he'd never even met her. But this rumor effectively killed his career, which is why I'm bringing it up. In a 2018 interview with 48 Hours, he said that local residents were mad at him, so he thinks that they fabricated this rumor. He says it cost him his position as DA after he was not re-elected. He went into private practice after that, but he said that even 15 years later, people refused to work with him due to the rumors. So I just wanted to be a part of helping clear up this bit of misinformation. But that same year, 2003, a witness came forward with information that may be credible and could change everything. This episode of Voices for Justice is brought to you by Quince. I've been trying to be more intentional about what I wear each day. I'm leaning into pieces that feel effortless, comfortable, and still put together, and Quince has been my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are flattering, and everything just works without overthinking it. They use premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and ultra-soft denim. And the best part? Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality and craftsmanship, not brand markup. I recently just ordered their tiered linen dress, of course in black. I wanted to pair it with one of my favorite pairs of brown wedges. The problem was, I didn't have a brown purse. So I got that from Quince too. It's one of my favorite outfits. It's easy, effortless, and feels amazing, especially as we're getting a little bit warmer here in Phoenix. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/justice for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/justice for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/justice.
What they did to your family, you're lucky to make it out alive.
Streaming on Peacock.
These men are going to come after me. Taking them out is my only chance.
Put a bullet in her head.
From the co-creator of Ozark.
Looks like a family was running drugs.
Execution-style killing, it's rare for the Keys. Any leads on who they might have been running for?
The cartel killed my family. I'm gonna kill them. All of them.
MIA. Streaming now. Only on Peacock.
1 year after Jennifer Harris was murdered, a new witness named Deborah Lambert comes forward. She says that she and her mother were driving across the Red River Bridge on Mother's Day in 2002 and they saw something. She says they saw 3 men, 2 in jeans and 1 in shorts, restraining a young woman with reddish-brown hair by her elbows. It matched Jennifer's description, and she says that the woman looked scared. She recalls her mother turning to her and saying that that woman was, quote, fixing to get raped and killed, end quote. Deborah says that they didn't notify law enforcement because they were afraid to get involved. But after seeing a news report about Jennifer near the 1-year anniversary of her murder, she put 2 and 2 together and came forward. At this point, the Fannin County Sheriff's Office presents Deborah with a photo lineup. And who does she pick out as the man who was absolutely restraining the woman that day? None other than Rob Holman, Jennifer's ex-husband. But there is one discrepancy. Deborah is sure that she saw this happen around 5 p.m. And remember, at that time, Jennifer would have still been at her friend's house. She didn't leave until 8 p.m. Now, it's only a 3-hour difference, so it does feel entirely possible that she was just off on her time. So investigators follow up. They reach out to Rob Holman, but he tells them that his lawyer advised him not to speak with them. So this is another potential lead that just sits. Around this same time, the investigation into Jennifer's case is officially suspended pending more evidence. The reasons cited for this suspension are no specific cause of death, no credible witnesses, no physical evidence, and no link to any particular person as a suspect. Her case, again, seemingly just sits. In 2006, we do see some movement again, though. Fannin County Sheriff investigator George Robinson tells the media that Jennifer's case was not closed and will never be closed until it's solved. There are also some news articles stating that Jennifer's family was pushing for Fannin County to ask the FBI to be involved in the case. See, the Red River where Jennifer was found is right along the border of Texas and Oklahoma. Her autopsy was actually done in Oklahoma. So since this murder seemingly possibly crossed state lines, it would fall under the FBI's jurisdiction. But as far as I could find, they are never brought in to look at the case. There's also a quick mention of evidence in Jennifer's case being sent to a Florida pathologist, but what was tested and any results are unclear. Now, Jennifer's family hasn't given up hope. They've hired a private investigator to look into the case. And in 2009, this PI reaches out to the sheriff's office, saying they want to retest the clothing that Jerry Harris found back in 2002. And the sheriff's office says that the clothing cannot be located. But after some digging, it turns out that the clothing was there at the department. It had just been mislabeled. The results of this testing, if any, have not been disclosed. In the end, we don't know if this clothing belonged to Jennifer. I know, I hate saying it probably as much as you hate hearing it. But as we'll learn, not only has this department kept a lot of information close to the vest, it seems that a lot of things just weren't documented. But really, it's around this time that Jennifer's case is reinvigorated. Whether it was just time passing or pressure from this PI, we don't know. But they start looking into the case again. Specifically, Lieutenant Daryl Parker from the Fannin County Sheriff's Office becomes involved, and he's determined to solve this case. He has a plan. He wants to talk to Rob Holman again, and he picks a very special day to do this. Mother's Day 2010, the 8th anniversary of Jennifer's murder. On that day, he drives to Rob's house and knocks on the door. He doesn't really formally interview him, though. Instead, he shows Rob some pictures of him and Jennifer together, and some of just Jennifer. And as Rob is flipping through these pictures, Lieutenant Parker says Rob stops on one picture for a bit longer than the rest. It's a photo of Jennifer in muddy water. It's not evidence, but it definitely piques Lieutenant Parker's interest. After this short interaction, he basically tells Rob to call him if he wants to talk about the case. And Rob actually calls a few hours later. He says he wants to talk. Lieutenant Parker is excited. He knows it's a rare chance to speak with this man, and he wants to make sure it's recorded. So he asks Rob to come down to the station the next day so they can talk there. In his 2018 interview with 48 Hours, Lieutenant Parker has tears in his eyes, saying he knew he messed up, that he regretted not going out to Rob's house to interview him right then and there, because the next day, Rob comes to the station with his lawyer and denies all involvement in Jennifer's case. He even says he didn't believe Jennifer was pregnant and didn't believe that she thought she was pregnant either, basically that it was just a lie to get him back. Now, I want to pause in the timeline for a second and say that Jennifer being pregnant is a really good example of circumstantial evidence versus physical. Though there is an argument to be made that further testing could have been done, the medical examiner found no evidence to prove that Jennifer was pregnant. But we know that Jennifer told at least one friend and Rob that she was, and her sister Alyssa found prenatal vitamins in her room, and evidence that she likely at least took one pregnancy test. So take that for what you will. A state prosecutor once told me that the difference between physical evidence and circumstantial is just what you can prove. If you go outside and see that the ground is wet and the surrounding houses and vehicles are covered in water, how do you prove that it rained without seeing water fall from the sky? Either way, this did seem to move things along. That same year, the Fannin County Sheriff's Office asked Jennifer's family for their blessing to exhume her body for further forensic testing, and they agreed. Lieutenant Parker told NTXE News, quote, "We believe these additional examinations could be crucial in proving elements of our case. We appreciate all the citizens who have come forward in recent weeks with tips and information, and we encourage others with any information, no matter how small, to contact our office. We will be speaking with a number of people who have been interviewed in the past, and with others we believe may have more to contribute." End quote. But unfortunately, this again doesn't seem to go anywhere, and Jennifer's case just sits. Jennifer's case didn't really seem to pick up again until 2017, when the TV show 48 Hours expressed interest in covering it. It's this same year that the Fannin County Sheriff's Office makes a public statement naming both Rob Holman and James Hamilton as official suspects. And the ball just keeps rolling from here. A witness from Austin comes forward, and the Sheriff's Office puts them under hypnosis. They announce that they're looking into newly obtained DNA, that they've requested x-rays, and they say that they're reviewing Jennifer's autopsy records again. In May 2018, shortly after it was announced that 48 Hours was covering Jennifer's case, another witness comes forward. A local news station runs a story saying an anonymous tipster reached out to the station to discuss what they'd seen in May 2002. This person says that they were driving back to Fannin County after visiting a casino when they saw something very unusual while driving across the Red River. The witness said, quote, "I observed someone standing beside the van with 2 trash bags. The person I observed was a local resident in Bonham." End quote. They say that this man was wearing all black from head to toe with the exception of white gloves. And after being spotted, the man got into a green van and drove away. As far as I could find, they haven't publicly named who the local Bonham resident was. We know that Jennifer's ex-boyfriend James was not a local resident, but her ex-husband, Rob Holman, was. Could this person have seen Rob? And is it possible that the green van they saw was really Jennifer's green Jeep Wrangler? Well, the only thing the sheriff's office is saying at this point is that there's no way to prove this person's story, but that these are exactly the types of tips they were hoping to receive after they announced that Jennifer's case would be featured on the show. They did add that this anonymous tipster wasn't after the $50,000 reward for information either. They actually called it blood money and said they were just clearing their conscience after all these years. But like the sheriff's office said, they don't have a way to prove this story, so it just becomes another piece of the puzzle for now. Then the big day comes. Jennifer's case is featured on 48 Hours. At this point, it's the largest piece of press that the case has received, and her family is really excited. It's revealed that Jennifer's case file sits in just a few boxes. It's really not much at all. And Sheriff Mark Johnson admits that her case has been hindered due to evidence being mishandled. Jennifer's Jeep was never properly processed and was compromised the day it was found. There were 2 water bottles inside that were processed, but the documentation of that testing was absent from her case file. And her laptop, the one that Rob wanted to buy, well, it went missing not long after someone at the sheriff's office also offered to buy it. Basically, they show that Jennifer's case has not been handled properly from the beginning. But I will say that the one sliver of hope that I found in this program was Lieutenant Daryl Parker. By 2018, he'd since left the Fannin County Sheriff's Office, but he continued to help Jennifer's family with her case as a PI, free of charge for years, and is still helping to this day. In the show, he presents a pretty compelling theory. He reveals that when Jennifer was found, there was this very specific type of what they're calling blue mud on the front of her body. And he says that this mud is only found in 2 locations within a few miles of where she was found. And not far from one of the locations of this blue mud, there was a building. It's been called a cottage and a shed, so it seems like a small building. And it burned down the night that Jennifer went missing and was presumably killed. Now, Daryl Parker pretty much says outright that he thinks Rob Holman killed Jennifer. He believes that he killed her in or near the building, dumped her body in the river by the blue mud, and then burned down the building to destroy the evidence. Now, a part of this next theory is in the show and in later statements made by Parker. He says that there was another witness who claims to have seen Jennifer's Jeep that night, a woman named Rhonda Fitzwater. She's featured in the show. She says she only saw Jennifer's Jeep. But here's where our small-town rumors come in again. Word around town was that Rhonda says that she saw Jennifer and Rob in the Jeep together. But again, just to clarify, Rhonda does deny this. She says she only saw the Jeep, end of story. But Daryl Parker would later do an interview with Dr. Phil about Jennifer's case. And in this interview, he doesn't name the witness, but he asserts that he believes there is a witness who knows more than they're saying. He adds that this witness said that they know Rob's family, and that both their family and Rob's family are cattle farmers. Basically saying that they wouldn't tell on Rob because of this unspoken bond between the families. Again, Daryl Parker didn't name this witness, but it seems that he could be talking about Rhonda Fitzwater. Either way, the show and Daryl Parker really tiptoe around this idea that Jennifer's case was hindered due to local corruption. They don't say it outright, but it's heavily inferred. Unfortunately, the show and tips received after it aired weren't enough to move Jennifer's case forward. In 2022, Sheriff Johnson again asserts that there's not enough evidence to convict anyone in Jennifer's case, despite their suspicions about who her killer may be. Then in 2024, Jennifer's family suffered another massive loss when her father, Jerry Harris, died by suicide in the parking lot of the Fannin County Sheriff's Office in Bonham. He was 76 years old, a Marine and Vietnam veteran. He left behind 3 letters and made it clear that it wasn't related to Jennifer's case. He said it was due to ongoing health issues. He chose that location to make it easier for first responders. Jerry Harris always said that he'd hoped to find out what happened to Jennifer before his death. It's devastating. And it brings me right to our call to action. Jennifer's case feels like it's just one piece of evidence away from being solved. Daryl Parker and Jennifer's family have not given up on getting justice for her. Her sister Alyssa says that she wants to keep Jennifer's name in the media, so please share. Alyssa and her husband have also been working on a docuseries about Jennifer's case for several years. So when that comes out, please watch and share that as well. For as frustrating as Jennifer's case is, she has so many people rallied around it who love her and are working hard to bring forth some type of resolution. So let's share and help keep the media pressure on Jennifer's case. As a reminder, Jennifer Harris was 28 years old when she was killed in the area of Bonham, Texas on or about May 12, 2002. She was white, with curly red hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information about Jennifer's case is asked to contact the Fannin County Sheriff's Office at 903-583-2143. You can also contact her family and team directly at reward@redrabbitjustice.com. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time. Voices for Justice is hosted and produced by me, Sarah Turney, and is a Voices for Justice media original. If you love what we do here, please don't forget to follow, rate, and review the show in your podcast player. It's an easy and free way to help us and help more people find these cases in need of justice. Welcome to the Secret After Show. The door is open and our emotional support puppies are in the room. Let's go right into the case. This was a tough one. There were so many unknown factors, we didn't know the results of so much testing, witnesses coming after the fact, missing evidence, the person at the sheriff's office trying to buy the laptop. There were so many twists and turns in this one, and a lot of really small town rumors that, like I said in the episode, I would normally try to avoid, but it seems pretty crucial in Jennifer's case. And I'm not saying that all the rumors are true, but I think the environment and the factor that, this small town is talking so much and leading this investigation in so many different directions was absolutely relevant. I think the largest section I have under Jennifer's case to talk about are the media discrepancies, you guys. I really try my best not to do this. So I have to kind of bash on 48 Hours and Dr. Phil. I will more gladly bash on Dr. Phil because he's just an awful human, but let's start with 48 Hours. Now, I will say I thought it was a good episode. Until, and I didn't talk about this in the episode because you'll see why. Until this new PI is introduced, Joe Mora, I think was his name. And like everyone else, law enforcement wise, has either been with the sheriff's office or like has all this experience. And then like near the last half or so of the show, they introduce this new guy and they're like, yeah, he's a PI and a consultant for CBS who's going to look at the case with fresh eyes. So we don't know this guy's qualifications. And I didn't look them up, I'm not gonna lie. He's just like this brand new PI who's never seen the case before. And when he comes in, he just like demolishes each and every theory. He basically just like degrades Daryl Parker, which didn't sit right with me. And it just felt theatrical. Like he was throwing this wrench in things that didn't really make sense. Like you could feel the connections that the other PIs had to Jennifer's case. And this guy just felt like an actor. He didn't feel real. One example I'll say is, when Daryl Parker presents this theory that possibly whoever did this, likely Rob Holman in his eyes, burned down the cottage/shed, this PI, says, well, that doesn't make any sense. If this guy lights a fire, it's going to draw all this attention, which I could see. I'll be fair and say I could see that aspect of it. But again, we are out in rural country. So I just thought it was interesting. He literally throws a wrench in like every single theory brought up so far. He's like, James Hamilton, I don't trust the investigation. Even though these two witnesses came forward and vouched for his alibi, I don't trust that. They need to look into him further, which I'm always going to condone looking into people further. But again, I don't know. It just felt so theatrical. He also basically says that witness, Deborah, the one who saw, the three men supposedly holding this woman with brownish red hair on the bridge, he says that he thinks that could have, essentially been compromised as well. He makes some pretty crude, I don't think is really PC to say, about the photo lineup. As you guys might recall, Deborah did pick Rob Holman out of a photo lineup, and he essentially says that he doesn't trust law enforcement to, show her a proper lineup, that, he thinks it's very possible that they could have shown, 5 guys of a different race and then Rob Holman, which is interesting when, the entire show is talking about how Rob Holman was interviewed by his uncle, how there's all these, possible compromises within the department because of Rob Holman's ties. I don't know. Maybe you'll feel differently if you watch the episode, but there was something about that and just knowing how these shows operate that felt so theatrical. It was like, there's not enough, drama in this case. We got to throw this guy in here to like not only switch things up, but I think almost cover their tracks that everything in this case points to Rob. I'm not saying he did it. I'm saying that there's a great amount of circumstantial evidence pointing to him. It just is what it is. She was very likely pregnant with his baby. She told multiple people that, including him. And it doesn't look good for Rob. It's just the end of story. And I think, like I said, a part of the reason that they brought this guy in was to kind of cover their ass legally, which is my next point, is how I think that these shows are often tailored to prevent a lawsuit, prevent being sued. And I get it. I really do. It's important. It's why these shows continue to exist. It's one thing I battled when I was trying to get media coverage for my sister's case. You see it unsolved a lot. While there's no arrest, there's no conviction, we can't really say it was him, even though everything points in that direction. So they kind of threw these like weird wrenches in this episode. Like one was saying they made this huge deal about the investigation being suspended. In the show, they even put up like the paperwork, right? The official case file. But if you're like me and you pause to read these documents when they're on screen, you'll see that right below where they like popped out the text about it being suspended, said that it was being suspended pending more information. Like, yeah, it's not a good place to be in a case, and I'm sure that her family wasn't thrilled by that, but you have to tell the truth. You can't just say that the investigation was, like, stopped a year in when it really wasn't. It's not uncommon for, in these case files to see something like that, to basically say that we're at the end of our evidence. And right now we can't do anything more until we get more evidence. So I don't know. I just think that it's really interesting and important to point these things out. Like, you truly can't take these shows at face value. And I will again remind you that on my sister's episode of ABC 2020, they not only got the date Alyssa went missing wrong, they also got the city she went missing from wrong. So just dig a little deeper. Don't take these shows at face value. And when it comes to Dr. Phil, I could go on all day about this Dr. Phil episode. It did feature Nancy Grace. At the end, I didn't even use it as a reference because by the time I listened to this episode, I already knew everything in it. I didn't learn anything new, which is fine. They're covering the case. It's getting attention. Her family was involved, and as long as they're happy, I'm happy. But what I found very interesting, another thing I wanted to highlight about just digging deeper, is that on this show, so many times they're like, well, neither James Hamilton or Rob Holman have been named a suspect. We just want to make that clear that they have never officially been named a suspect. They say it like at the beginning, the middle, and the end. But we have paperwork. We have news articles about the sheriff's office saying specifically that these two men were named suspects. So, yeah, I just think it's important to look a little bit deeper and to realize that sometimes this legal red tape does prevent the truth from coming out in these shows. Essentially, they're really afraid to be sued, and so they will say some crazy things, so just keep an eye out. Now, the hero of this episode is Lieutenant Daryl Parker. Seeing that scene in his 48 Hours interview where he's talking about how he had Rob Holman right there. It was Mother's Day 2010, and he called him and said he wanted to talk, and he gets these tears in his eyes, and he's like, I knew I messed up. I knew I messed up. And like, one, good on you. Good on any law enforcement officer who can be forthright and say, hey, this was a misstep, and this is how I could have done it differently. This is what I would have done differently. I think it takes a lot of courage, and I have a lot of respect for people like that. So one, he's the hero because he cares. Two, because he's honest. And three, he has never charged this family for his services, which I think is really amazing. Unfortunately, I'm not saying every PI is bad, but families in true crime are sitting ducks for predators, for psychics, for these PIs. I see it all the time, where they take people's money and they don't do anything, or they lie to them in the worst case scenarios. It can get really, really bad. So Lieutenant Daryl Parker, you are our hero of this episode because you seem genuinely amazing. You seem to care a lot. And because you dedicated so much of your time, you volunteered your time for this family. And, yeah, so he's our hero of the episode. I can go on all day. I'm not going to. He is our hero of the episode. And yeah, overall, this was just a tough one with a lot of conflicting statements, a lot of odd major media that I really hope improves in the future. Again, so Jennifer's sister Alyssa is married to a filmmaker. And if they do put out this series, which it seems like they will, they talked about it on the Dr. Phil episode, I really, really encourage you to watch it. Not only because I think a lot of people think I just like blindly support families, but you cannot convince me that a family who has worked years on their own family member's case doesn't have more information than what you've seen out there. I guarantee you, when that series comes out, there's going to be new information that we have never heard before. It's going to be told, most likely, a lot more coherently than anything else out there. And it's such a different experience. So when that series comes out, I will keep an eye out and try my best to make sure to remind you. But please look for it. Please watch it. Please support it. Now on to our segment of hope. And I probably sound a little emotional. We are so shocked. This one is personal to me. And like Lieutenant Parker, I want to admit that I probably made a mistake. So I never know how to say these things without revealing too much because I'm such a blabbermouth. I posted a story on my Instagram that talked about how Alyssa, my sister, is a potential match to a Jane Doe. And I can't say much more than that. But the reason I say that was a mistake is because, when I posted that in the moment, I was looking for support. As you guys know, things with my family are a little weird, and I really do lean on this community for support. I don't just say that. When I find out things in Alyssa's case, I want to tell you guys, I want to lean on you for that support and get that love back. Very selfishly, I'll admit that. I am seeking that love and that positivity. And really, when I posted that, this is going to sound like so cheesy, you guys. I really believe in manifestation. I believe in the power of positive thinking. And my thought was, if I post it and, maybe get, all of you guys thinking positively too, that this could be a positive outcome, that this Jane Doe will match to Alyssa. It kind of felt like that superpower would be amplified and somehow the universe would hear, all of our cries and our positivity to make this definitive match. But I wasn't ready. And I'm not really ready to talk about it, but it's out now, right? So the reason I want that as our segment of hope is because I still am looking for that support. I can't take back that post, even though I'm not quite ready to talk about it. I got an email from my lawyer saying that, journalists were reaching out. I got a text from a journalist, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have posted this. And it's not that I revealed any sensitive case information. It's just that now I posted it, and there's an expectation to provide more information that I don't feel comfortable providing at this moment. But I think it makes the perfect segment of hope. One, because I just wanted to talk it out and explain why I deleted that story on my Instagram, and ask for your help in creating and continuing this hope that this Jane Doe is a match to Alyssa. And I think in many other circumstances and other cases, I would consider a potential match, a story about a potential match, to be a segment of hope. So I guess I'm just continuing to be a little selfish, maybe really selfish, and take this segment of hope for Alyssa. And again, I feel like I've said it 5,000 times now, and I'm definitely rambling. I'm sorry. Please send your positive thoughts. And I don't know, I guess just help me continue to have hope that this is Alyssa. As much as I'd love to bring her home alive, I know that the odds of that are basically nothing. And I truly think that the best resolution at this point in her case is just to be able to bring her home and lay her to rest. So if you believe in thoughts and prayers, if you believe in manifestation, if you believe in the power of positive thinking, please take a moment and extend that to Alyssa, that this Jane Doe is a match. I really just want to bring her home. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time.